Hi there, Tracy here with another scrapbooking process video. This is a long lost video from way back in October. It is the second part of my October project life. So I am just showing you here this little bin that I've been keeping my ongoing project life stuff in. And it has a bunch of compartments, and I actually do have a video, but I forgot to make it public, so I will go ahead and make that available so you can check out that item if you're interested in how I'm storing my project life stuff. So I have the November and October Ali Edwards Stories by the Month kits here, and I might have pulled out a couple of things from the Stories kits as well. I can't quite remember because this was filmed quite some time ago, but I have at least those two kits. And I often have some leftovers from the month before and whatnot. So the first thing that I do when I am doing a project life spread is I familiarize myself with what supplies I have on hand. And so I'm just, as I look through these, I would have already printed my photos, as you can see. I believe I printed these all in a batch. And so one of the first things I did in my October project life spread, the very first video, is I kind of grabbed half of the photos and used those in my last project life spread, which was just public today, so that will be new to you, but these are both pretty old videos. The first one was narrated back when I had made it, so my memory hopefully was a little bit more fresh for that one. So as you can see, I just looked through my photos, familiarized myself with my supplies. I have several of those Snap Studios photo flip pockets, which I tend to use when I have more photos than I have space. And if you can hear something in the background, my apologies for that. My printer is printing. I don't have a whole lot of time today. I'm going to be doing some scrapbooking and some narrating, so my apologies for the sound. So as you can see, I'm doing my standard process here, which is to figure out where all of my photos are going to go on this spread. I have those two photos, which really aren't all that important. I printed them up as potential fillers. Now, of course, trick-or-treating came at the very end of the month on the 31st, so I want to keep the Halloween stuff in that part of the spread, kind of in the bottom right-hand corner. And so I am kind of moving my photos around based on the chronological flow of the month, but also how things look as far as I want it to be fairly balanced. So I don't really care too much about chronology, except I do want the trick-or-treating to be at the very end of the month because that's pretty obvious that it should be there. So I really like this card here. It says, "Hello, way too much candy." And I think that that's relevant because we had a lot of candy. We weren't sure how many trick-or-treaters to get during a pandemic. So anyhow, I will talk about that a little bit more when the time comes. For now, I'm just taking anything obvious that might go with certain photos. I'm just popping out the chipboard pieces and putting them on the spots where I plan to put them, just so that I don't forget when I'm designing. I don't want to kind of forget some ideas that I might have had. I'm just trimming down this photo a little bit more. It was a screenshot of our security camera outside our house on on Halloween night. And so it just shows a couple of trick-or-treaters coming to the door. So I'm just having a look at this, and it looks pretty okay. It looks fairly balanced here. So now that I have a pretty good sense of where everything is going to be, and there's a photo or a card in every single pocket, now I'm going to go ahead and start doing some of the designing. So I'm going to start by putting this really cute chipboard tag on this photo of mushrooms from my backyard. Just going to use my tiny attacher, which ran out of staples there, so I'll refill that. This tag is a chipboard tag, and it says, "October is a symphony of permanence and change." And I really love that photo of the mushrooms in my backyard. So one card done, just like that. Now these two I'm going to put together, and one of them is a photo of Scott doing his marathon, his half marathon for the Blue Nose, which took place in October. I'm doing October here. My journaling here, this is a really cute card from Ali Edwards. It says, "Just a little October story." And my journaling says, "The Blue Nose Marathon, which is usually held in the spring, was postponed until October because of COVID. Since the pandemic was still going strong, they held a virtual run instead. Scott ran a half marathon on this sunny October day." And he was able to pick whatever day within a range of days. I'm going to do some underlining there just to make the journaling look anchored. And then I'm going to add this chipboard piece that says "Celebrating Now." I really like how that looks, and I'm just going to have it go from the photo onto the journaling to kind of hold those two pieces together and make it clear that they go together. They will be in the same pocket, but you can't always tell, right? I'm going to add some more things to that in a few minutes, I think. Now this one is just a fun picture. It looks a little bit like she's in a wheelchair there, but she's not. She's in a wheelie chair, which I took from my office. It was something that I had gotten from my office, and that's just Scott and Liv outside of my practice. And I kind of took the photo so that you could see the logo on the door there, because we love our logo. I'm adding some labels here. Some of these are from Kelly Purkey, and some of them, I think most of them are from Kelly Purkey. A few of them might be from Studio Calico, or even from Ali Edwards. So I'm going to add this chipboard yes. It fits just perfectly there in the circle label. And then my journaling says, "Bringing home a few extra chairs from work." So because of the pandemic, we had to spread everything out. And we used to have like a really cozy, beautiful, I loved our office, but everything has to be kind of like clinical and easily cleaned and spread out now. And so it's, I still love it, but it's not really the way that I'd like it to be. But it is safe, which is the most important thing. So I also have these photos of Jana in the office. Jana's our office manager, and I just wanted to, she wore she wore this unicorn onesie on Halloween Day. I think it was Halloween Day. And so we, of course, we have to be careful which clients are coming in, and the clients that were coming in were all kind of easygoing people who wouldn't mind such a thing. So we thought that it was a great idea for her to do that. So my journaling here, I'm just putting it on a noteworthy label that I cut out from a Kelly Purkey set of cut-aparts. And it says, "Jana, since we had few clients that day and all had a good sense of humor." Yeah, I don't know if that makes perfect sense, but that's what I wrote. Yeah, I think Jana is just like the title, and then those words just are kind of like a little caption. So I did put two photos there, and I'm going to use one of those little flip pockets from Simple Stories, from Snap Studio, which is part of Simple Stories. And so I'm just kind of playing around with what's going to go on the flip side of that. And I think a filler card would be nice. So I'm just kind of thinking about what I might have here for filler cards. And then I thought maybe I could even make a filler card. So I've got this really cute pattern from one of the Ali Edwards cards. And then these little wood veneers came in the kit as well. And I really love them. They're you can't quite see it on this video because it's so tiny, but they are printed with white lines on them. For the veins and whatnot. And so I just decided to do just a wee little bit of shading. What I used here was a Zig Clean Color Real Brush marker. And the color I used is beige. And I just love how it turns out. And it takes those lines and really makes them pop. I decided to add a little shadow for the stem as well, just so that it's clear that it is a leaf. And then I liked that look so much that I just decided to do this other leaf as well that also came in the kit. This is again the Stories by the Month kit, and I can't remember. I combined the October and November kits, so I don't know which came in which. But I really love having these kits on hand because I tend to be an in-the-moment scrapper, well, most of the time. I'm a little bit behind right now. But it's really nice to have some seasonal items on hand that are relevant to the time, and not have to go through my whole stash to find things. So now I've just decided to add a couple of these little word stickers that also came from the Ali Edwards Stories by the Month kit. Everything, unless if I'll just tell you otherwise if it didn't come from that kit. This one says Morning Pumpkin, which I thought was kind of cute because that's Janet in the morning. And then there are a couple of others there that says Dress Down and This Made Me Laugh. And then across the top of this second photo, I'm putting It's Fun to Pretend Sometimes, Dress Up, and Here's to October. I'm just spreading those out a little bit just to put a little bit more interest on the photos. Now, these two photos are from Cobb's Bakery. Cobb's Bread, I think, is the proper name of the store. And this is an Australian bakery that is apparently quite famous. And they came to Canada under the name Cobb's Bread. And we love them. It's quite expensive, though. We cannot afford to buy things there very often. But for a really special treat, this was actually our first time going to the bakery, which is why I documented it. So I just used my hot off the press template for journaling and added some lines there. And what I wrote is, we finally tried the new bakery in Sunnyside Place. They have so many scones. And Sunnyside Place is just the place close to my practice. My practice is called Sunnyside Psychological Services, and the whole area is called Sunnyside. And it's got a beautiful river and some shops. It's quite lovely. Not too far from where I grew up. So here I'm adding another kind of 2 cards here that will go in one 4x6 pocket. And one of them is a photo of Sophie's macarons that she made. It was her first time trying macarons. She found a recipe on maybe TikTok or something. I just need to put something in that little spot there in the bottom right-hand corner of the macaron photo. I have that one that says, that wood veneer that says October on the photo of the oven, and that's going to cover up. I'm going to add some more stuff there to cover up the yuckiness of our oven. And so I just decided to go with that cork star. And now I'm going to add a couple of layered labels here, just again to cover up the yucky, dirty part of my oven, which doesn't seem to come clean even when you clean it. So it says Sophie's homemade macarons. And then because I have a star on the other photo, I decided to put stars on this one, but I'm out of the tiny little stars. Those cork stars came in a kit, a past kit, maybe Studio Calico or Ali Edwards. And I have used all the small ones, and all I have left are the big ones. So I just took wood veneer, and they look fine. It doesn't have to be exactly the same. You don't have to have everything all matchy-matchy. So I'm just using some washi tape to hold those together so that they don't move around in the pocket. What I used to do was back them on a Becky Higgins 4x6 grid for Project Life. And I just find that that makes my Project Life a little bit too bulky. So I decided to go with this washi tape method. It works fine. So what I'm doing here is I'm just cutting this up. At first I was going to just cut the oval, and then I decided to just actually cut out each individual word like this and kind of cut around it. And I'm not really loving how that looks. What I'm actually trying to put something there. And I kind of feel like nothing is exactly working. So what I think I'm going to do is make my own little thing for that to sit on. I'm just going to wait for a few minutes, I think, and tap my fingers and think about what I want to do, I guess. So I have this piece of cardstock. I have a bunch of cardstock that just kind of sits on my table waiting for me to need it. And so I pulled out some very old nestabilities. I don't think I've pulled these out in probably 10 years. But this oval is the perfect size. And so I just ran it through my little Cuddle Kid cutting machine, which is the one that I just keep on my desk for using on the fly like this, so I don't have to pull out my big shot, and which comes on a little wheelie cart with all the supplies on it. This is a nice way to just kind of die cut something very quickly, as long as it's small enough to go through that little hole. So I'm going to outline around the edges of that oval, and that looks about the right size. It was just, I can't remember why exactly I didn't want to use I think I tried to use the oval that was on it, but it was just not working. I think it was maybe a little bit too big, or I don't remember. But anyhow, this is what I went with. And I just think that putting these words on the plain cardstock background, that is, by the way, a piece of crumb cake cardstock from Stampin' Up, which is Stampin' Up's version of craft. So I just decided to do a little bit of splatter here. I'm using Skyscraper ink from Studio Calico. These are Mr. Huey's, I think, or maybe it's after they stopped calling them Mr. Huey's. It came in a kit. It's like a mini Mr. And I just used a nonstick. I have like a white nonstick mat that just kind of hangs beside my scrap area, and I grab it when I need it. So I just, I like that because it's flexible and it can just sit on top of other things and catch the splatter. So I'm just waiting for that little thing to dry. But the reason I put the words on top of that cardstock oval is just because there's so much clutter in the photo behind, and it was feeling a little bit distracting, and none of that clutter really adds to the memory or the storytelling or anything. So this Trick or Treat card from the Ali Edwards kit is really, really cute. And so I decided to use it for my journaling. And so I'm just using that hot off the press journaling template that I often use. And the lines here are so long that if they were to go all in one stretch, it would bend. And so there's like a little break in it that has like a little plastic area that's a support so that the lines don't bend when you're tracing them. So what you do is you just do that, and then you just go back and fill them in just the way that I did. And now when the lines are empty like this, you can totally tell that I filled in those lines. But once I do all of my journaling on it, it blends in and you can't really tell. If I was too concerned about it, I could have taken my time and connected those lines a little bit better, but I know from experience that you're not really going to notice it, so I just left it. My printer is still printing. I am so sorry, but this video is either going to be narrated today or it's not going to make it. So again, I'm not going to apologize anymore, but I am sorry about the sound. So my journaling says it's always difficult to estimate how many trick-or-treaters we will get. But with COVID this year, we were pretty sure we'd get even fewer. We pre-packaged 24 treats with full-size chocolate bars, cans of pop chips, and a fun face mask. We got 23 kids this year. Perfection. It actually wasn't much less than previous years when we got 30 or so. So that chipboard piece there says October Stories Save My Heart. And that little piece is dry enough. Now it's not 100% dry, but I like how kind of messy it looks with the splatters like that. That's pretty good. Now, in Animal Crossing in October, I went to Joe Biden's island. Just for fun. You can there's something in Animal Crossing, if you're not familiar with it, where you can go to sleep and in a dream visit other real islands, like real people's islands. And I saw online that there was this Joe Biden island, and I particularly wanted to get the swag and take a couple of pictures in front of the White House and that sort of thing. So I went there for that, and there are some other pictures that I took, but this one I like because it shows pretty clearly the Biden-Harris hat and the Vote Joe dress shirt that I'm wearing with a skirt. And I think that the belt buckle on the skirt looks a little bit like a Canadian flag, even though it's not supposed to be because he's not Canadian, obviously. So it says, just my journaling there just says, in Animal Crossing, I visited Joe Biden's island and picked up some Team Joe swag. They had a White House office, etc. It was really cool. If you're in Animal Crossing, it's really fun to check out those promotional islands. I think there are other ones too. Let me know if there are any other dream islands that I should go to if you happen to play. Now here I am documenting this tweet that I printed up from one of Sophie's teachers at the junior high school that she goes to. I'm using that this season card from Ali Edwards, and I drew some more of those journaling lines on, and I just said, because of restrictions in the classroom, the teachers are taking students outdoors to learn when they can. Learning outside helps us be thankful for the beauty of nature. And then I just put some little hearts there and stuck the tweet on there, and I will decorate it later. So one thing that I might have forgotten, and I'm not sure if you're watching these two videos back to back, you might even know more than I do about this layout at this point. But I'm trying to do this fast, so I'm not doing a whole lot of decorating, although I will go back and decorate a little bit more. So I just added super scary and boo little embellishments to that photo, which will go in its own pocket. Added that leaf to that quote. It says, "I'm so glad I live in a world where there are Octobers." Now I have these two photos, and one of them, what I like about one of them is that it shows what's written on that pumpkin more clearly. It says, "Trick or treat people with kindness." But the other one has all of the pumpkins in it. So we did a very quick pumpkin carving. In fact, the adults didn't even do it. It was the kids. I just added a chipboard piece that says pumpkin, and my journaling says, "Trick or treat people with kindness comes from a Harry Styles song." And so that way I could use the photo that showed better things, but I put the quote in my own handwriting in case you couldn't see it because the pumpkin was so small and the angle was a little bit bad for that. So that's one way to kind of make sure that your story is told, even if you don't have the proper photo and you don't have room to have multiple photos. So now I'm at the decorating phase. So as you can see, I pulled things down so that I can now go through and add little things. So a chipboard piece that says "More candy, please," and then some a little "Bring on the falling leaves" chipboard piece that I'm putting here on this tweet. And I have this Animal Crossing sticker that I got from a little thing I ordered from Animal Crossing user. And I just thought it was really, really cute. I love Blathers. He's one of my favorite characters in the game, so I wanted to put him on there. And now I have these phrase stickers that I'm just looking through and trying to see if there are any phrases that are really relevant to some of the stories that I've told already. Now that I've told them, I might have a bit of a better sense. So I'm putting tricks and treats down here on the video camera footage. And up here on Scott's marathon, I'm putting October Memories, These Stories Matter, and Adventure. And basically just kind of looking through everything to see if there's any last minute additions that I want to make, and based on a couple of things. One is kind of using up product. I don't want to hang on to things that I could be using, so I want to kind of get things onto my page. And then the other thing that I'm trying to do here is add some balance and repetition and just make sure that the page looks finished and feels finished. And if it needs any supporting elements, like right here, I felt like I needed an arrow here to show that this photo is connected and related to the photo below it. So I used that same Zig clean color real brush marker and colored the arrow the same color that the leaves are, and that gives me an element of repetition with the wood veneer that's colored that beige color in a few different places on the page. I already have some repetition with the stars, but I'm going to add even a few more stars. This little chipboard says "So ready for sweater weather," and I thought that was a great embellishment to add to the October Memories little filler card. And I like using filler cards because they give your eye a little bit of a place to rest. My pages are very dense these days. Like there's lots of photos and lots of things going on in the photos. They're not like posed Instagram worthy type of photos that have lots of white space and that sort of thing. So because my project life feels very cluttered because of the nature of my photos. They're kind of like true in the moment, just family snapshots. I need some space with some filler cards. So that's why I have 3 filler cards here on this spread. So here are the photos for this one. I did add a few more wood veneer pieces there. I was a little bit fast in doing that, and there were a couple of little globs of glue there that show up, so I have a bit of regret about that. But other than that, I really like the way that this spread turned out. So thank you so much for watching. Take care and have a really great scrappy week, and stay tuned for more videos that are coming right up.